welcome back to Engineer's Workshop. I apologize, it's been a while since my last video. If you recall, I was able to get a 5 horsepower explosion-proof brake motor as a new motor for the Quincy air compressor. Didn't need an explosion-proof brake motor, but that's what became available. So first thing I've got to do is to check it out and see if it even works. It should work. It was pulled from running equipment, but I'm going to throw the inverter on it, set it up for low voltage, and I'll show you what I've got to do to that brake to test this out, see if I've got a working motor or if I have a 300-pound paperweight. So let's go over to the motor and check it out. I've got the motor standing up on one of the original F350 front brake discs, which gives enough clearance for the shaft to protrude down without hitting. All of these are typically wired 460 when they're at a municipal location. So I had to rewire this for 240. So I've got my pigtail attached. These are the brake leads. There's 2 black leads, which are power for the brake. And the brake has a transformer inside that's configurable for 460 or 240. And then these 2 are a temperature switch. If the brake overheats, this temperature switch will open. There's also a temperature switch in the windings of the motor that will also open. That's the white leads. And those are typically wired in series so that we can determine if the motor or the brake overheats. The motor ends here. There's a fan inside that shroud, and when you order one of these motors, US motor or Reliance, I believe this is US, for use with a hazardous location brake, it will have a shaft extension that comes up about to here. So the first thing I've got to do is to take off the cover of the brake. I don't want to just energize the brake to release it. I want to see if I even have enough guts in here to make a complete brake. Normally there's a brake release knob that protrudes through the rear cover. Let me show you that. This is the brake release shaft that would protrude through that cover, and it hooks onto the linkage inside. Now this is a weak link of these Stearns brakes. You're looking at about a $6,000 motor here, and what happens is this little stud that is sticking on the back, there's just a plastic knob threaded onto that. It's probably like a number 10 1024 thread, and these things get knocked, and because these are so heavy, these studs break off. So Stearns sells these. They actually sell the stud with a knob on it. Anybody want to take a guess what these things cost? They are $1,200 for a pack of 5, which works out to be about $240 a piece. It's just a piece of 304 turned. It's got to be a fairly precision fit in that bore, because all of this, there's got to be flame paths and stuff like that. So, and then just a linkage that goes through there. But man, I think there's some business opportunities for someone who wants to crank out these brake pins. What I'm going to do is turn that off, drill it, tap it a 1/4 and then put a short stud in there and put a screw-on knob from McMaster Carr. Those are coming in the mail. So let's get these rows of cap screws off, and that'll let us remove the lid. Now, if this cover doesn't just lift off, there's a trick, and this one came off. The trick is, if you look here, there's a cap screw from the back side that's short. If you take this one out, this little short cap screw, and you put one of the fastening bolts down in from the underside, it'll pop these 2 surfaces apart. So from here, we have to take 3 bolts out to lift the brake actuator. This is where that brake release pin attaches, and pulling on this will release the brake. Now I can tell this is an older unit because the brake coil is not dual voltage. It just has single connections, which probably means it's a 230 volt coil. We used to buy 230 volt coils on these because they work on, you know, either 230 or 460. And if you got a 460 motor, you wire it across the the center tap windings of the motor. Okay, actuator's off. And from here, we disconnect the thermostat, which senses the temperature of the pressure plate. And you can see the thermostat embedded in that cast iron pressure plate. And it is a splined hub. That doesn't sound good at all. Looks like the brake hub is dragging against the bottom of the motor housing. Might have to lay this motor down in order to check it, but I don't want to run it for too long because of that. So let's lay it down. All right, well, let's see if electrically it works. I'll keep the RPMs low on the inverter. I got it set for 10 hertz. Let's just see if it spins when I power it on. It's going to be noisy because of that brake hub. That was 30 hertz. Let's check the other direction. That's enough to tell that it works electrically. Well, I'm slightly disappointed that it's not like, good to go out of the box. But I don't think that's a bearing noise. It sounds like the brake hub scraping on the back side of the housing, or the fan, underneath the brake there's a standard, TEFC motor with the fan there, and it could be a fan scraping on that housing. It just doesn't sound like a bearing noise to me. So it runs in both directions. I took it up to 30 hertz. I think it'll be fine once I completely take the brake off and figure out where that noise is coming from. I'll take the fan off. If I still got the noise, then it's bearings, and then it's a bigger deal. But until then, I'm going to be hopeful. So I'm going to continue with fabrication for a right angle bracket to hold that C-face motor on the compressor and then power up that Quincy. It's been a long time since we had 5 horsepower air compressor capacity in the shop, so looking forward to getting that running. So quick video for today, just to get back in the swing of things. Hope everybody's having a great summer. I know people are already going back to school, But hey, I'll try to get some more projects going in the works with the lathe and other things for the Spitfire and for the shop itself. And I got an auction coming up. Might be able to get a pallet jack or something for the shop. That'd be great. So I'll wrap it up for now. Thanks again for watching, for subscribing, for being patient with me while I don't send you any new content for these last couple weeks, but I'll try to keep them coming regularly from this point forward. Thanks again for watching Engineers Workshop, and until always, stay safe.